Welcome to Sanibel and Captiva's original podcast, The Insider's Guide to the Islands. I'll be chatting with island experts from fishing guides to shellers to local personalities. I aim to get the insider information to make your island experience incredible. Okay, today we have the good fortune of having Billy Kirkland here. He is the owner of Billy's Bike Rentals. If you've been to the island, or if you're coming to the island, you're definitely going to see his business as you drive on. He's been here for how many years now, Billy?
I came here on the island in June of 1985.
And what brought you to the island?
We were looking to start a business on Sanibel, but that was in 77, and the city of Sanibel wasn't ready for Billy. So we came back in 85 and been here ever since then.
And where's home from? Where are you originally from?
Originally, I'm from South Georgia, but I came from here from Panama City Beach, Florida.
Panama City. And were you doing a similar business up there, or?
I was working as renting beach chairs and umbrellas, sailboats, and a lifeguard on the beaches in Panama City.
Oh, cool. So what was the connection with Sanibel? How did you...
The company I was working for was on to open up a beach chair and sailboat rental business on Sanibel, but Sanibel had just been incorporated in the late 70s, so they wasn't quite ready for a bike and boat and beach chair rental business on Sanibel at that time.
Okay, so Billy, am I right in saying you're also in the military?
Yes, I finished high school in 1970, and I joined the Army in 1970, and I was out in 1973. I was 18 and turned 19 in Vietnam, running bulldozers through the jungle.
Wow, so there's a connection from what you do today back to Vietnam. You were actually doing heavy equipment back then too.
One of my MOSs was heavy equipment operator.
Wow, fascinating. Well, thanks for your service. So tell us a little bit about the business and what you do on the island now.
We came here in 85 and was working for a resort, and I saw a need there at the resort for beach chair rentals and was able to start a Billy's Rentals, renting beach chairs and umbrellas. And from that, it sort of mushroomed. Our next location, we opened a concession at Westwind. Then we opened a concession at Sundial and Casabel, and eventually Tweenwaters. So if you were wanting to rent a sailboat on Sanibel in the mid-1980s, you had to rent a sailboat from Billy's because we had all the concessions.
Wow. You rented sailboats too?
We rented sailboats, and we were teaching windsurfing back when windsurfing was very popular. At one time, we had 25 windsurfing boards on the island to rent out.
Wow. How many locations do you have now, Billy?
At this current time, we no longer do any resort rentals. We're independent. We have satellite locations that we provide the bikes and chairs for resorts, and we have about 8 of those.
Oh, gotcha. And then on Periwinkle, you've got 1 or 2?
On Periwinkle, we have Billy's Rentals. Across the street, we have Billy's Bikes and Segway at Sanibel. And 3 years ago, we opened Billy's Rentals at the Bailey Shopping Center.
Perfect. And yeah, it's an extensive, if you get a chance to go in there, it's an extensive bike store. I was quite surprised when Billy opened it up. It's got race bikes, you've got every type of bike and all the peripherals that go along with it. There really is, you've got tons of accessories and things like that in the shop itself, don't you?
Yes, one of the things we felt that was important to do was to stay on top of the new products and stuff. So since 2000, we've gone every year to the Interbike, which is one of the largest bike shows out in Vegas every year, and looking at new products and new designs and stuff. So we're able to stay on top of the products that fit the biking industry.
Well, and that's indicative of your fleet, because it's not just bikes that you do. You have Surreys and you have what else? I mean, you've got some recumbents and things like that.
We have the Surrey bikes. We have recumbent bikes and trikes. We're the exclusive rentals in Lee County and sales for a product called the Weehoo, which is a tag-along for the kid. We found that the trailer bike was great, but for smaller kids, they have a tendency that they're not concentrating, they could fall off. This attaches to a bike. They're sitting and they're strapped in, and they're able to pedal, so the families feel very safe with them. And this year we introduced the pedal assist bikes and the handicap scooters.
Pedal assist being electric bikes, or?
There's a difference between electric bike and pedal assist. Even though it is an electric bike, it's considered pedal assist because if you do not pedal, the motor does not run.
Gotcha.
Where electric bike is considered, it has a throttle and you can just sit on the seat and go like you would on a scooter. But on a pedal assist bike, if you don't pedal, it does not run.
Okay.
And it shuts off at a certain speed, so it limits how fast you can go to.
Gotcha. So did the tow behinds, are they like a trailer for the kids? Or?
No, the tow behind, we do have the trailers, and we strongly recommend the trailer over a baby seat because with a small infant in a baby seat, if the bike goes down, they're not really protected. Right. So as with a trailer, it has a roll cage on it. So if the bike goes down, generally the trailer doesn't go over. But even if it does go over, it's like a cocoon. The infant is protected in there. And we recommend no one put a baby on a baby seat or anything to at least they're a year old or have enough head strength or neck strength to hold their head up with a helmet on.
And you keep your bikes pretty fresh, don't you? I mean, you rotate them through, and
we rotate out between 200 to 300 bikes a year. We work with a group in town called the Make-A-Wish Foundation, or Make-A-Wish, and the Immokalee Farm Workers, Big Brothers, Big Sisters.
Oh, yeah.
We work with Crow here on the island. We work with the Ding Darling. And Blue Market Housing, if they have somebody that needs a bike, we're going to see that they get a bike.
Oh, that's awesome. The Immokalee Foundation, that's a great charity. It's where they give out scholarships for college and things like that, isn't it? Help.
We gave last year to that group about 250 bikes. Right before Christmas, we gave out about 50 kids' bikes. They were recycled, great working, ready to go, but they were showing wear and tear, but mechanically a sound bike before Christmas. Yeah.
That's awesome. And I've seen Billy's generosity firsthand. We had a customer a couple of years back, and they had a young disabled boy who was probably around about 12 years old, and they asked if we could. I didn't know that at the time, but then we went to meet them on the beach, and they had this. They switched the boy into a big wheeled wheelchair. I knew Billy rented them out, but they said that they saw you, or you saw them, walking down the road, and you pulled over in your truck, and you said, "We have a wheelchair that will get you on the beach," and they were absolutely gobsmacked. No charge, no. Billy went back to the store, picked up the wheelchair, came back and brought it back to them. And I think you've made an indent on their memory forever and a day for that.
One of the things that a lot of people don't realize is that we teamed up with the city of Sanibel several years ago and with several resorts on the island. Because of the ADA requirements, resorts are supposed to have an access for someone with a physical challenge to get to the beach. And it's quite expensive to buy a wheelchair and it's set there, and you may only need it 3 times a year. So what the resorts have done and the city has done, we take care of that for them. The resorts will call us, they'll rent the wheelchair for the one time they may need it, or twice a year they may need it, and we deliver it. But if the individual just needs it for a couple of hours free, the city has actually provided 4 wheelchairs to us, and we provide that service where we deliver them to the people to Bowman's Beach or Blind Pass, and there's no charge. The only requirement is that they have to stop by, sign a waiver, give us a deposit so that we know they're serious about wanting the equipment delivered to the location. We drop it off. It's locked up. They have the key. They use it, lock it back up, and drop the key back off to us.
That's fantastic. I didn't know that was a service that was available.
And not only that, there's another product that we're using. It's called the Duet, which actually is a wheelchair attached to a bicycle. And we make those free if somebody needs it for a couple hours.
Oh, you can.
But if somebody needs it for a week and they want it at their resort, we rent that out. That piece of equipment is over $5,000. We have 4 of those that we use here on the island.
That's fantastic.
And But if you was to show up today and had a family member that may have just broken a leg and they cannot ride a bike, they can do this, and you have to have someone pedal them around, but they can go.
That's awesome. That's absolutely fantastic. Hey, I've got to tell you, we ran into one of your customers the other day. We were going down, Laurie and I were going down Dixie Beach Road doing some research for the podcast, actually. And there was a family of 4 or 5 on one of your Surreys, and they're pedaling down there. And we went to the end, and we were looking down by Woodruff Point down there, and Woodring Point, looking at the old housing back there. As we came back, we went past this family going back up, still going down Dixie Beach Road, and we went about another 500 yards along, and there was clearly a wallet sticking up in the road. And we did our good deed for the day. We picked it up and we took it back, and sure enough, made his day. He'd actually dropped it out of the Surrey because he was pedaling frantically. I think all the rest of his family had given up pedaling, and it was left to the guy to keep pedaling. But I don't know, going from that, they were going down a long straight road, which is, I don't know, there's some great places on Sanibel and Captiva to bike. Where would you recommend people go on?
You know, if you're new to the island, Ding Darling, we're very fortunate to have the National Wildlife Refuge. It's a great place to bike through. It's not a place that you'd like to Surrey bike through because it's too far to bike. But, you could stop at either one of the locations on Periwinkle or at Bailey Shopping Center and bike through Ding Darling. The Bailey Track is another great place. If you're on the south end of the island, we always tell people to try Periwinkle, the campgrounds, to go in and see the birds there and the aviator and all.
Oh, you can cycle through there, Billy?
You can cycle through there. I recommend if you're going to do that, stop and pick up some pocket change because you can buy bird feed or seed for the birds for $0.25, and the kids always enjoy feeding the ducks and stuff. And then come out of there and continue on down to Dairy Queen and have a break, or go to the lighthouse and stop back at the Dairy Queen on your way back.
Yeah, can't beat that. And then just for those that don't know this, you might be listening to this on audio, just describe what a Surrey is.
A Surrey is actually a bicycle that's made for 4 or 6 people. Everybody can it's a bench sit on it with a canopy on it, and room up front for 2 small kids. So on a 4-person Surrey, you can get 4 adults and 2 small kids. 2-person, you can get 3 adults and 2 small kids. So
to summarize, it sort of looks like a car. You're sitting in more of an upright position, aren't you? And it looks like a pedalo sort of. It's a cool setup.
The Surreys they're very popular. Just a new thing I didn't realize, the Miami Zoo over in Miami, they have 200 of them that they rent out for people to pedal around through the Miami Zoo on the Surrey bikes and stuff. So I was just talking with a manufacturer, and they've got 200 of them.
Wow. So next to your bicycles, what's the next biggest rental? I mean, your bike's obviously number one. I mean, most people
bikes are number one. A lot of the beach chairs and umbrellas. We're finding that people are moving away from the scooters. We do scooter rentals and stuff, and that
motorized scooters.
Motorized scooters. They have to be. They're under 50 cc's, and they don't qualify. They have to have a motorcycle license, just a valid driver's license. But we're finding not as many people are renting the scooters today as they used to be. But between the bikes, then the beach chairs and umbrellas, and actually the Surrey bikes are probably second next to the regular bike rentals and the beach chairs and umbrellas. Our Surrey bikes have made a big surge this past year.
Really. And so somebody's going to the beach, they come to you for bikes, and you're renting all this extra equipment like the chairs and the umbrellas. How do you rent them something to get it there?
Well, what we do, if they're renting for multiple days, we'll actually deliver and pick them up. But if they're just doing it for 2 to 4 hours, they have to take them themselves, unless it's the beach wheelchair. The Surreys we do not deliver to the location because it takes 2 guys to put them in the trucks and pick them up.
Gotcha. Yeah, they're big.
So, it's just cost prohibitive. One of the other things that we do that a lot of people may not realize is we work with a lot of schools with foreign exchange students. We just got an order for 197 kids coming in, and we'll have the bikes available for a day trip on the island.
You're
and stuff.
kidding. Where
So-
where are they? Were they staying on the island or
No,
all around? Or?
they're coming from it's today. The day they're coming, it's a trip just to Sanibel that day, and they come in and they rent bikes for 4 hours and they bike around the island. The largest group we've ever had was over 300 kids
You're
at one
kidding.
time.
Wow,
and
that must be a staffing nightmare, I would think.
We've done it, so we're pretty prepared for it. And
Right.
the other thing, we work with church groups that they bring out. We've had some rehab programs for individuals that are going through needing assistance for, how do you say, overcoming an addiction problem.
Okay.
And they bring them out, and we set it up so they can bike for the day on the island and see what island life is really about.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. And then tell us a little bit about you're involved on the island as well with your. Is it Rotary? Your
I've been a member of the Kiwanis Club
Kiwanis,
since
I'm sorry, yeah.
1976. I've been past president of the fishing club. I was vice president and president for 2 years of the fishing club. I've served on the board of the Sanibel Community House. Between my wife and I, when I come off the board next year, we'll have 24 years serving on the board with a community house.
That's awesome.
I've always worked with the 4th of July Parade Committee and helping set up the 4th of July Parade. We work with the rec center in the city on doing bike rodeo, safety rodeo for the kids. There's so many things. A funny story, the other day I get a phone call from a lady, and they had a loggerhead turtle that was in distress, and they needed someone with a boat. So we took the boat and we helped rescue a loggerhead turtle the other day and was able to get it to the beach
No
to
way.
work with them. So my wife jokes and says that if you need anything, you call 1-800-BILLY.
800 billion.
You know. But with the 4th of July parade, we rented out a lot of trailers, and we donate the money that we get for the trailer rentals to a bike ride we do in Mount Dora for us up in Camp Boggy Creek. It's a children's not a hospital retreat area where kids with a lot of them with terminal diseases are able to go with a family and spend a week there, and we always work with them. So we rent the trailers out and we donate that money to Camp Boggy Creek and stuff.
That's amazing. That's
And
awesome.
We've got 6 trailers already rented out this year for the 4th of July.
And that's funny. It's good to know because we've just borrowed a trailer off a neighbour, and I didn't know that you actually did it. I guess a lot of people wouldn't know that actually back from Hurricane Charley, which was in 2004. 2004?
2014. Oh, no, 2004. August.
Yeah.
August.
Billy stayed on the island, and you did a lot of heavy equipment work, didn't you, after the...
I stayed on the island. Probably a lot of people thought I shouldn't have, and Hein thought I would not recommend anyone staying, but I had a plan, and I had really thought it all out, and very lucky that it was no worse than it was. But yes, we were here. So for the first 5 days, we made all of our resources available to the city to help people and stuff. We did not charge for anything, and was able to help the city get an island open back up for people.
Yeah, it's incredible how the amount of damage that was done and how quickly it got back together. I mean, I couldn't get back on the island. I was not. We had our business out here, but we stayed somewhere else. But I ended up flying over in a light aircraft and taking pictures for a magazine, and all you could see was the Army Humvees going up and down the beach. And but it was people like you and a lot of other volunteers managed to get the island back together, and it was unbelievable how quickly it happened, wasn't it?
One of the things that we did, and maybe is when the people evacuate, they did not realize they were going to be gone for 5 days. So they had left their pets behind. So with the city, they was able to set up a call station where I could go to the city hall and would take calls. And we set up a call station with a family off island that had phone service. And I was on the board of directors with the Chamber of Commerce at that time. So they would call in, give us their address, that their dog was at this house, and if we could go by and check on them. So my wife and I, every day we were going in and breaking into houses if we had to, and watering the dogs or feeding the cats, and taking care of them. And it was funny. A week after everybody was back on the island, I had people stopping by, and they go, "Billy, I know you were in my house. I know it was locked, but I don't know how you got in." And I just reminded them, I won't tell you what I used to do for a living, but everything. So.
Okay, so Billy, tell me a little bit, what was it like after that hurricane in 2004? I don't want to dwell on it, but it was such a big event for the island. But what was it like after, when the island was pretty empty? What sort of things were you doing apart from going around and feeding pets and things like that?
Well, one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is that Hurricane Charley really devastated this island as far as the vegetation and stuff. And they didn't realize how dangerous some of the trees were here on the island, mainly the Australian pines. And several days after the storm had passed, when we were out cleaning up, we still had trees falling, branches breaking and stuff. But one of the things that we ended up doing was going around and helping rescue the family pets and stuff, and making sure the pets were taken care of. And I would have someone like yourself that was off island, and they'd call us, and we'd go clean the refrigerator out for them. So we had steaks, we had lamb chops, and we opened up our house. We have a generator that runs our whole house. So we opened up our house. We had the EMS, we had the Sanibel PD here. We had the workers that were coming on the island that worked for Ding Darling and other places. They'd come by, and while I'm out doing jobs, my wife was home cooking. So you could come into the house and get a burger, get a steak, and it's all free because it had been donated from residents on the island that wanted to clean their refrigerator out.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. And then one thing that we didn't talk about is the not only do you have the Surreys, the recumbents, the bikes, and you have the bike store for any accessories and everything, but you also have Segways. And tell us a little bit about the Segways that you do, and how do you operate them?
Well, we've been doing Segway tours on Sanibel since 2005. We're one of the first people to do Segways, and really in this area and stuff. It was a very controversy issue with the city of Sanibel, whether Segways should be allowed on them. And it took me over 3 years going before the city and trial runs to finally be able to get the final approval to Segways. Today we no longer have to go back before the city. Everything has been pretty much straightforward nowadays with them. And
right.
I think the island has accepted it, and we get comments left and right all the time, all very positive about seeing parts of the island that they've been coming here, but they never knew about the island, and we're able to take them on Segway and show them.
That's awesome. And it's guided tours, yeah?
It's a guided tour.
Guided tour.
We service and maintain about 80 Segways within this area. That's from down to Naples, Fort Myers for the airport, the police department, the fire departments, shopping malls, and all.
Oh, so you're a dealer for Segway?
We're not a /dealer. We're an authorized service center.
Oh, okay.
So we maintain and repair them from.
Wow.
And we have a warehouse off island where we maintain them and service them at.
So as you've been on the island quite a number of years now, Billy, what would you say, is there any hidden gems, people? I mean, I'm sure you share them with your customers every day, but anything that people that haven't been here that they should look out for, things to do, or
Well, I think we have some of the the beaches that we have in the shelling. If you've never been here before, we're the shelling capital of the world. We have more shells on our beach because our island does not run north and south; it runs east and west. So we get more of a tidal washing of shells along our beach. So if you're a shelling enthusiast, you cannot find a better place to come to go shelling. With the Ding Darling Wildlife Refuge for the birds. Mm-hmm. And, the whole island is a sanctuary island. Mm-hmm. You're not going to see the traffic lights. You're going to see traffic during season is bad, but you're going to see people stopping, letting turtles cross the road, or the birds. And also if you're into nature, you're going to love our island.
Yeah, for sure. There's no doubt about that. And what about you? You're an avid fisherman, aren't you?
Some people say that I'm a fishing nut, but I love to fish. The fishing around here is very good. I'm tarpon. I think the first tarpon ever caught in this area was caught out of Boca Grande.
Mm-hmm.
So tarpon fishing is very this time of year right now, and we're still in pretty high season tarpon fishing. I primary fish mostly offshore for a grouper and snapper, but there are a lot of trout, redfish, snook, and we have an extensive guide system here on this island that if you want to fish, they can put you on fish.
Yeah, and there's some great, some of the best in the world, I'm sure. We had Dave Godfrey on here last week, who's a fantastic fishing guide. I'm not sure he's guiding anymore, but and others as well. So how far offshore are you going for those fish, Billy?
Well, I'm very fortunate I have a bigger boat, so I'm 50, 60 miles offshore.
Okay.
And it depends on the time of the year. This time, if we start getting into the summer months, we'll probably move in closer and probably be about 35 miles offshore.
Is that because of the weather?
It's because the water temperature warms up and your fish are not out as deep. They're moving back in closer in.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So,
yeah, I didn't know that affected how far in.
Yep.
Close in and close out they were. Okay, Billy, so you're coming to the island. Of course, if you're driving on the island, you're not going to miss you. You take a right onto the main Periwinkle Way, and you're going to come along and about a half mile on the right-hand side, you're going to see your store. But where else can they get in touch with you? I mean, you've got, so what's your domain and your...
Well, first off, like you were saying, when you come on the island, we always like to say we're the first bike rental on Sanibel.
Mm-hmm.
So we're 1 mile once you turn on the Periwinkle down on the right. We'll always be the first bike rental on Sanibel because there's not another location that will be able conducive to put a bike rental. But I've had a website since 1988. I've had a website.
Wow.
www.billysrentals.com.
Perfect.
We get probably over 50% of our reservations are now through our website, where we're getting bookings now already for Christmas for this coming year. Our customers know us. They've known us for a long time. They know that they can book a bike today, even though they're going to be charged for it. They're able to get 100% refund as long as they contact us before we deliver the bikes. We offer 100% refund with cancellation, so
that's awesome.
They can plan their vacation way out in advance.
And that's probably good for you guys and good for them too. I mean, it's a win-win for everybody.
It lets us figure out how many people and what kind of equipment we have and need to bring on the island.
Right. Fantastic. Well, anything you'd like to add? Anything else? Any bit of advice you could give to any visitor coming? Anything that you'd say to...
Well, I'd say we'd love to have you come to the island. Hope you don't bring your bike. We've got plenty of bikes, but if you do, we have a bike store that can take care of you. And, if you have a family member or friend or someone that has physical challenges, issues, please contact us and we will see what we can do. We've been doing a lot with the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and we'll be happy to see if we can get you here to enjoy the island no matter what the circumstances are.
That's fantastic. Well, it's been a joy and a pleasure to have you. I've got one last thing to ask of you. Do you know what this is?
That's the conch shell, so I think you try blowing it, right?
Yeah. Have you got this one down? Hold on.
I hadn't done this.
We'll try it together, right?
I don't know. I've never done this.
Yeah, I don't believe him for a minute. I think he's actually ready. 1, 2, 3. Go on, Billy. Give it a go. Not quite perfect, but we'll do. Okay, good job, man. Thanks so much. Thanks for coming on. Yep. Until next time, thank you. Thanks for listening to the Insider's Guide to the Islands. Please subscribe and leave a review on iTunes.